Hey guys, it's Yuto from sashirecipes.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make the ultimate Japanese comfort dish, Katsu Curry. Even though we usually use pork for katsu, I'll be showing you how to make a delicious crispy chicken katsu with chicken breast. This recipe is seriously good, so let's get started. First, I'm going to quickly show you how to make curry roux from scratch. This recipe serves 4 to 5 people and takes about 2.5 hours. I know it's long, but it can be made in advance, and then the curry itself doesn't take long at all. If you want to use the pre-made curry cubes, that's also fine, but my recipe is optimized for my homemade roux. I'm gonna get straight to it. If you need a list of ingredients, I've put them in the description for you. So take a frying pan, heat it on medium, and add 3.5 teaspoons of curry powder and 2.5 teaspoons of cumin. We're just gonna toast them a little to intensify the flavor. Once it's slightly darkened and smoking a bit, remove it from the heat and set it aside for later. Next, take a new pan and heat it on medium. Once it's hot, add about 1 tablespoon of beef fat. You can use lard or butter instead if you like. Melt it a bit and then add 3 cloves of finely minced garlic and 50 grams of minced fresh ginger. Once the garlic and ginger are fragrant, remove the block of the excess fat and add the onions. I'm cooking these onions right down until they become a paste. I've thinly sliced them so that they cook faster. This is gonna make my final curry have a good color and deep complex flavor. Stir them occasionally, and if they start to stick to the bottom of the pan, add a small splash of water to unstick them. It takes about 30 minutes for the onions to become soft enough. After around 15 minutes, pour in 50 milliliters of water and simmer until the water is reduced completely. Once the onions resemble a thick paste, add 3 tablespoons of flour and mix it well. Add your toasted spices and mix them in too. Next, I'm adding 900 milliliters of chicken bouillon. Add a small splash first to loosen up the mixture, then just keep adding it gradually, mixing each time. Once it's more or less smooth, add 3 tablespoons of marmalade, 2 teaspoons of coriander powder, half a teaspoon of ground cloves, 1 teaspoon of cardamom powder, and 2 teaspoons of ginger powder. Finally, add a bay leaf and leave to simmer for 2 hours. During these 2 hours, you don't need to watch it constantly, but just stir it from time to time and remove any foam that floats to the top. After 2 hours, it should look like this. Preferably transfer it to a container and keep it in the fridge overnight, but it's still good to use straight away if you can't wait. I'll recommend doubling or tripling the recipe for this roux, then you can keep it in the fridge for a week or up to a month in the freezer, ready to make an easy curry anytime. So now I'm gonna show you how to use this roux to make a mild and little bit sweet Japanese style chicken curry. So first, get your chicken. I'm using skin on chicken thigh, cut into bite-sized pieces, and I'm just gonna sprinkle it with a pinch of salt and pepper. I find chicken thighs juicier and adds more flavor to the curry, but if you prefer to use chicken breast, that's also okay. We'll be using chicken breast later to make the katsu. Heat a large pan. I use medium heat and add 1 tablespoon of butter for a richer flavor. Add the chicken and fry it until the surface is browned. Once it's browned, add 1 sliced onion and fry until it's softened slightly. Okay, that's looking good. Next, add 2 potatoes and 1 carrot, both cut up kinda small to medium size so that they cook quickly. Next, add 1 tablespoon of tsuyu sauce, mix and let it cook for about 1 minute. If you can't get tsuyu sauce, you can replace it with soy sauce or make your own tsuyu sauce. I have the recipe on my blog and I've put the link in the description for you. After a minute has passed, add 600 ml of water and your homemade curry roux. If you're using pre-made roux, check the box for how much water you need to add because they're all different. Mix it up until the roux is dissolved. Once the roux is incorporated, I'm gonna add some special ingredients that I think really complement chicken curry in particular. So first I have 1 tablespoon of sake. This adds umami and makes the curry more balanced. A sprinkle of chili powder. This is optional for people who prefer a bit spicy curries. Then half teaspoon of fenugreek, which is a bit sweet and nutty, used a lot in Japanese curry. A teaspoon of ketchup and a half tablespoon of honey. The ketchup and honey are different kinds of sweetness. So now all we do is simmer and mix it from time to time. This will take about 20 minutes, so that gives us the perfect amount of time to make the katsu. Take the chicken breast, they're very thick and I'm never gonna cook all the way through, so I'm gonna show you how to do a butterfly cut. Get a sharp knife and cut kinda diagonally on each side like this. You'll be able to open it out like this, it's already so much thinner. Cut it in half and you have enough for 2 chicken katsu pieces from 1 chicken breast. You need 2 chicken breasts for 4 portions. Next, sprinkle with salt and pepper on each side. Finally, we just want to flatten it out so it's the same thickness all the way through. This will ensure even cooking. So wrap the chicken in plastic wrap and then use a rolling pin or something to pound it. Pound it until it's about 1 centimeter thick, about half an inch or so. Now before I prepare the butter, I'm gonna heat my oil to 170 degrees Celsius, that's about 340 degrees Fahrenheit. While it's heating, take a bowl and add 100 grams of plain flour and 100 milliliters water and 2 eggs. I've halved the mixture because I'm only making 2 katsu this time. If you make extra katsu, you can keep that in the freezer too. Mix it well. Usually tonkatsu made with pork is just coated in flour, egg, and then dipped in the panko breadcrumbs. But I find it doesn't stick well when I use chicken breast. That's why I make this butter. It acts like a glue so the panko doesn't fall off. It makes extra crispy too. Next, get a tray or plate and add 50 grams of Panko breadcrumbs and 4 tablespoons of powdered Parmesan cheese. This adds a delicious cheesy flavour to the katsu. It goes so well with chicken too. Mix it around and we're ready to go. First, coat the chicken in plain flour. This is gonna help the batter stick. Next, into the butter. Then onto the panko and Parmesan cheese mixture, make sure it's covered all over. Finally, place it into the oil. I'm shallow frying so that I use less oil, but of course you can deep fry this too. It's gonna take 3 minutes on each side. If you deep fry it, make sure to turn it after 3 minutes. The word katsu means deep fried cutlet, but did you know it also means to win in Japanese? We often eat katsu curry for good luck, like before an exam or something like that. Actually, chicken katsu is kind of rare in Japan, especially with curry. It's nearly always pork. It doesn't matter if the curry is chicken or beef, the katsu is usually pork. Either way, this chicken katsu with slightly cheesy crust goes perfectly with the curry. It's not traditional, but it's so good. Okay, this has been frying for 6 minutes, so I'm gonna transfer it to a wire rack and let the excess oil drain off. In the meantime, I'm gonna check my curry. It's looking nice and thick. I'd say it's done. It only took about 15 minutes too. Don't worry if it's not thick enough, it just means it needs a little bit longer. And if it's too thick, add a bit of water to thin it out. When it's ready, take it off the heat. Before I serve my chicken katsu curry, I'm gonna cut the katsu into slices. This just makes it easier to eat because we usually only use a spoon for katsu curry. Can you hear how crunchy that is? Perfectly cooked on the inside too. Finally, it's time to dish up. I have a plate here with some Japanese white rice, so just pour the curry on the side. Place the chicken katsu through the middle. Add another drizzle of curry. And for a finishing touch, you can also add some Japanese pickles called fukujinzuke. And there you have it, the ultimate Japanese chicken katsu curry. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more tasty Japanese recipes. Hope to see you next time.